You want to start your own TV show? Well, after today, you'll be able to do so.
Welcome to Fast Forward. That today we are going to be going into depth into how to create your web TV show. However, before we get started, I'm going to ask you, if you are watching the show right now on Facebook, make sure to share it with your friends and other speakers and other entrepreneurs. And if you're watching this on a video from YouTube, please make sure to subscribe and also go into the notification bell so that you will know every Friday when we share this information. The logistical complications of putting live events is really something. So people are realizing that it's a lot easier and a lot cheaper to actually do virtual events. So that's why I don't think that we're really going to go back into how events were in the past. And the second thing is, as we were mentioning earlier, if you are having a virtual event, people are, unless you're a superstar and you're really having a lot of traction online or through advertising, you are going to be having approximately 100 to 200 people, if not less, in your event. However, the power of becoming a broadcaster and having a web TV show, and that's why virtual events and web TV show are connected, it is because every time that we go live in the Toilet Paper Diaries, we are getting about how
Well,
many?
1,000 people watching the show, and then we do watch parties and we put it on social media. So we end up with about 2,000 to 3,000 to 4,000 people watching every episode. Now that's the same as a major event, and Ernesto and I are doing this every single day that we broadcast. That's not by accident; it's because it's strategically put together, and we've only just begun. The way that this is going to turn out is going to go through the roof, and it's already being watched by people. People are saying about the fact that, how are you guys managing to do it? And we've been working towards this for a very long time. So if you're interested in finding out more about this, stick with this show, because we're going to share with you at the very end the nuts and bolts and the tricks and tools and techniques you're going to need to launch your own show, including 10 types of show that have a niche that nobody's satisfying. So make sure you're with us all the way through. I promise you it'll be rewarding.
Change a little bit the position and how you see things in your mind. First of all, you were thinking, well, television is one thing, webinars is another thing, if live events are another thing. Right now, we are in one single platform. So you have a choice. You can either do one event every 3 to 4 months or whatever it is, and it could be a virtual event or whatever, or you can create a platform where you can broadcast and you can have once or twice a week people watching you constantly, and you become really a virtual world influencer. And I think this is going to be super, super important. So if we're going to move forward with this, I think the most important thing is to start analyzing what's going on in the speaking industry and in the events industry. Yesterday, I was watching part of one recording that Tony Robbins uploaded on some of his social accounts. Let me just show you some pictures here. So I think it's going to actually give you an idea. So there is Tony. This is his setup. Here's another view so that you can see another view. And this is a short segment. It's very, very short.
Most positive emotions. You're going most often to the most positive. You live the most. And then what are the top two out of your list most negative emotions?
You've got 4 large LEDs, and each of them is having on it maybe about 50, maybe even 100 people watching on Zoom. So collectively for those screens, and he's got a monitor down in front of him, I think he's got more than 4 actually, he'll have best parts of say 500, 600 people all watching him broadcasting there. And because of that, they're able to raise their hand, they're able to join in, they're able to interact with him kind of the same way that they would be if they were in a live audience. But the atmosphere is different. It's very much a self journey, like going to the cinema versus watching TV. So at the same time, it's cost effective for him because there's nothing else he has to pay for apart from those massive TV screens, which he probably had hanging around anyway. And so that's the top motivational speaker in the world. That's his version of what we're doing right now.
That is correct. So now his setup is a little bit more sophisticated that we are having. However, I mean, we are basically having a very similar landscape over here in our own setup, and we will basically be running the whole thing through you. Now, let's just possibly talk a little bit more about other video platforms, because I think this is quite interesting.
With our virtual event studio, we can turn your live event into a virtual experience with an interactive live audience. Thank you for joining, everyone. Our immersive solution is a combination of a physical LED wall and floor combined with an augmented reality environment that can be fully customized. In this pre-designed set, you can present your keynote or your PowerPoint and show video content. But I'm not alone here today. Besides the virtual live audience, I've invited two very special guests. Sabine Rademacher, Marketing and Communications from NEP, and Jur Steenkamp, the Creative Director of Univate. Hi guys, how are you?
Hi.
Hi, I'm fine.
Is there anything you would like to add?
What I like about this set is that because it's a virtual set, we can create any design for any company or any event that you want.
Yes, and in addition to that, I think it's important that our studio is safely operated from a completely separate room and is ready to host a virtual event within days.
Safety first, very important nowadays. We could also have questions from the audience. Are there any questions?
Hi Niels, Rob here. I have a question. I see some 20 people at the moment, and I was wondering with how many people can we do this simultaneously?
We can host up to 50 people in the live virtual audience, but we can also stream this to YouTube, for example, and we can integrate the chat into this virtual world.
Love it. That's very interesting. It looks like a proper stage show, but as you can see, it's all done with a bit of augmented reality. It's all basically computer graphics that sets it out to look like a proper screen. But the numbers of 50 people aren't huge. That's very intimate in comparison.
Exactly, but then he said, well, we can also integrate with YouTube and Facebook. So this is one of those things that I want you guys to understand. I mean, basically, Zoom is the same thing. I think Zoom is, I do not know if 1,000 people or whatever it is.
1,000 plus if you need it to be.
Exactly, but then of course you can also go completely into broadcasting mode. And then go into Facebook and then go into YouTube. And then, of course, you can do a tremendous thing. So one of the things that you need to understand is, once again, events and broadcasting are actually merging together. This is just a very important point to actually learn. So this is one of the platforms that I wanted to show you. But now let's just see what other companies are actually doing. So this is Dutch technology. So this is the German technology. And now we have seen also some of the American technology.
The main element of a virtual event is the main hall. Here, visitors are greeted by a welcome video, get first information, and can interact with other visitors. The design is flexible and can be adapted individually to customer needs and corporate identities. All other event elements can be reached from the main hall. In the virtual auditorium, videos are played live at a predefined time or on demand. Slides can be presented in parallel to the video. Chats can be started after the video or in parallel. Visitors get individual information at virtual booths. The design of these booths can also be individually tailored to customer needs and wishes. Users can communicate personally via chat or email, download documents, and watch videos. In addition to virtual events, UbiVent also offers solutions for online trainings, online workshops, and virtual conferences.
The events industry did get very bloated. There's so many elements involved in becoming an event organizer, and so many markups and so many elements of making money, which is great and made lots of different ways of doing it. But what it meant is you had a hit or a miss with every single event. It was either a huge success or it was a nightmare and, oh my goodness, we lost so much money. What this allows you to do, because of a difference in economics, is consider not only bringing all the people to your incredible events, but doing it every month. Now, if you can get people all year round to be part of your tribe, then they won't go anywhere because they just won't have the time to. Like when you subscribed in the good old days to a magazine every month, you wouldn't go looking for more magazines because by the time you finish that one, a new one comes out. So I think it's going to really change the loyalty that people put together when putting together an event like this. It's going to be very interesting to see how this ends up.
I mean, who would have told you, Dave, that 4 months ago we were going to be talking about this? It's just insane.
Well, what makes it so crazy, Ernesto, is considering the fact our own very own business model. And here we go. I'll just show you Speak in Dubai, because we've been training people all around the world to speak internationally, taking them to recently to India, to Dubai, to the US, to Spain, to lots of different places to get their showreels done, their media kits and everything. And nobody expected to have to deal with the problem of no travel and no audiences. Now, what this means is everybody who worked with us previously now has a showreel to die for because you can't make them anymore. You can't get an audience into an auditorium and start filming it if you pay them, as we clearly know from experiences over in the US at this moment in time. So what you have to do is get ready to the new experience that's coming along and buy into that, and hopefully get yourself up to speed with enough stuff on video for people to want to hire you. And that's going to be a huge challenge for every entertainer, speaker, author, business owner who wants to tell everybody I'm an industry expert but has no proof apart from their conversation.
This is Dave's avatar. I think the avatar is much better looking than the real life Dave, but anyway.
More interesting than me. That avatar. Now, here's the thing with this particular platform, and we'll interview the guys next week with this particular platform. I can create my own character. Now, imagine Tomb Raider being inserted into a conference center. That's pretty much what the experience is here. So you can create your own wardrobe, you can get your skin color, you can do your beard if you've got a beard, or you get your hair. This one's actually got a ponytail like me, and I like to dress in black because it makes me look thinner. Even virtual me looks thinner. And so that's the character that starts off. Then it gets inserted into the virtual world. Now, if you can see this picture here, that's the Dave Crane, the virtual me, inside the system. And that's a view that, the guy in the blue shirt is actually somebody who is showing me around and educating me on how to work the system. Behind you can see the big screen that people are going to be watching. And you can see around this screen, the controls that I will be using. So the arrows on the right-hand side, the talk button, so I can broadcast live or talk to the engineers individually. This is the podium. This is where I'm going to stand. So as you see those two characters before, imagine that this is full of people sitting down. You can see just on the right-hand side, there's two people, one stood at the back and one standing on the stairs. Well, this will be in, I think it's about 3 or 4 days' time, this will be a full auditorium of people waiting to see me speak. And in front of you, you can see those buttons on the laptop, which means that when I press them with my mouse, I can go forward and back, play videos, do everything like I would in a proper presentation. And I physically can move left and right, and I'm part of the game. I'm inserted. So there we are. There's another view. That's from the back of the room. So you can see the podium at the front and the screens, and you can see my back and the gentleman I'm chatting to there, explaining where we're going to be. So I went for a little walk around like you would do in an actual event. I mean, this isn't too dissimilar, apart from the fact it's completely virtual, of what you do when you do a site check and a sound check. And you load up your presentation and you check the microphone to make sure it's working, and you have a look around the room to make sure you know where the audience is going to be and where the quiet spots are and where the energy is going to be. But you have to make sure it's virtual, make sure you anticipate it. So there's a couple of views behind the scenes of what to expect from this incredible incredible presentation I'm giving to Dell in about 2 or 3 days' time. We will get a copy of that video, and I will share some elements of it. And also I'll be chatting to the gentleman who created that platform. But you've seen there 3 completely different systems. And just like with the battle of the mobile phones, whether you're talking Huawei, you're talking Apple, you're talking Samsung, or any of the other ones, these will all be competing against each other. And we'll have to see which ends up being favorite. Do you prefer to have an avatar where you can interact and chat and do everything, or do you want to be in there and see nothing? It's going to be a very interesting experience, and I'll let you know next week exactly how it went down.
So now you've seen basically in which direction we're going, and basically for the foreseeable future. I mean, if we just see it, I was very happy yesterday to hear that the Major League Baseball is actually starting now with baseball in a few days. But of course, they're going to have no audience. So obviously, they don't have a choice on going virtual. Right now, we were looking at the period of about 18 to 24 months before the theater, before the concerts, before big events actually will go back to about 60 to 70% of where they were. Now, that is not taking into consideration the fact that right now, by going virtual, you can actually repeat that event every couple of months instead of every year. There's so many changes which are going to happen there, which we have to start thinking differently.
I think that they've missed the trick with baseball and all the other sports. Right now, they're doing it in an empty stadium, but with the amount of processing power and augmented reality that we could have, you could superimpose an audience, a live audience of the fans who always go to that, onto the camera angle of any angle on a normal game. So you could actually have that. And I know that they're creating a DJ role of pressing different sound effects for when something happens. So when you score, whoa, and when it goes bad, ooh. So you have all these different things. So I think that they might have a sound version that works with people inside the stadium, the sports people taking part in it. But I'd be very surprised if they don't change it so the view from back home, watching it on TV, isn't too dissimilar from what you'd get if it was in post-production. But with the effectiveness of the algorithms now, they can have it happening in real time.
Correct. So now what we have to do is, well, how can we prepare for this? Because, and this is what Dave and I have been already thinking for a while. So the first thing that you need to work on is definitely your marketing. Dave was sharing with me one of the elements that he was working on, which I really think it's phenomenal. And I mean, I love, Dave is an incredibly creative person. And if you actually see where his mind is actually going, it's just really amazing. So this is great that you're actually watching this right now. Have a look at the way that he's actually getting himself now starting to be presented on video. Have a look. Phenomenal. So this is something that I really believe that you have to start getting into. Now, let me just show you a couple of other things which I think you're going to find very interesting. On my speaker website, when we were normally outside of lockdown and nothing of COVID was actually happening, this is how it used to look. We used to create events that were to create the branding from speakers. So as you can see there, you could see me there, saying hello to everybody on the crowd. And we created all these different things. Now, what we have realized is that the world has completely changed. And right now we're positioning ourselves as virtual speakers. So let me show you the difference between one thing and the other completely. So this is before and this is the after picture. So we are already embracing this, and this is something that is very important. If you want to also figure out how we are doing it and how we're working on this, please get in touch with Dave, get in touch with myself, Ernesto.today, or you can go to the Dave Crane and get in touch with us, because of course we are already working this out. We know exactly how this works. If we go now to the profile from Dave, we can also see it. I mean, it's really a complete different story than what he had in the past. We are understanding how important this view from being digital is all about. And that's one of the things that you have to already start doing as much as possible.
Now, it's interesting to see these pictures, Ernesto, because I remember that you and I were brainstorming what is the new image going to be for speakers. And we predicted this about a month before Tony Robbins published that picture of him in front of all these banks. We decided to create something that we could use as a visual image that would show people what a virtual broadcaster of the future would look like. So we're ahead of the curve in that, even before the best speaker in the world, Tony Robbins, got his head around it. So I think that with the stuff that we're sharing right now, it might be a case that things have to catch up, which is why it's so exciting to be at the forefront and the sharp edge of this mindset.
Yeah, so if you're enjoying this content, please make sure to subscribe to our channel, because we're sharing such incredible information every Friday. Or if you also would like to get into the notifications bell so that you know exactly when we are doing it, that will be awesome.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you really enjoyed it, then make sure you watch one of these two videos afterwards. And Ernesto, why are you staring up the top of my head?
Dave, your hair is actually thinning out.
Well, if it is, it's about the only thing getting thin on this show.
Here on this side, we have some more amazing videos for you to watch.
My name is Ernesto Verdugo.
And my name is Dave Crane. No, sorry, it's the other way around, isn't it?
Is it? Okay. Oh yeah, I'm Dave Crane.
And my name is Ernesto Verdugo. And keep on watching these shows over there. Take care. See you soon.